The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor. Soo-jin flinched, instinctively raising her hands to protect her face. Her father's voice echoed through the private dining room of the Lotus Garden restaurant. "Clean it up, now." She dropped to her knees, the broken shards cutting into her palms as she scrambled to pick them up. Blood mixed with champagne on the expensive white tiles. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely grip the glass. "Pathetic," her father spat. "You can't even serve properly." Across the room, at the table reserved for Seoul's elite, a man in a black suit went perfectly still, his dark eyes locked onto Soo-jin's bleeding hands. "Appa, please." A young woman's voice, soft and desperate. "It's my birthday. Can we just—" "Quiet, Ji-woo." The father didn't even look at his daughter. He was already flagging down the manager, complaining loudly about the incompetent staff. The man in the black suit stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. Everyone went silent. "Sir?" The manager appeared, nervous and sweating. "Is everything—" "That waitress." The man's voice was ice. He pointed at Soo-jin. "She's coming with me." Soo-jin's heart stopped. She looked up, blood dripping from her fingers, and saw the most dangerous-looking man she'd ever laid eyes on. Sharp jawline, cold, calculating eyes, the kind of expensive suit that screamed power and violence. What?" she whispered. "Stand up," he commanded. Her father stepped between them, chest puffed out with false bravado. "Excuse me, but who the hell do you think you are? You can't just—" The man pulled back his jacket. Just enough. Just for a second. Soo-jin saw the gun holstered at his hip. Her father went white as a sheet, stumbled backward. Everyone in the restaurant recognized what that meant. Who that meant. "I said," the man repeated, his voice dropping to a deadly whisper, "she's coming with me." Everything happened so fast. The man, later she'd learn his name was Min Jae, grabbed her wrist gently despite the command in his voice. He pulled her to her feet, his thumb carefully avoiding her bleeding palm. "Wait!" The young woman from his table, Ji-woo, his daughter, jumped up. "Appa, what are you doing?" "Protecting what's mine," he said. Soo-jin's breath caught. "I'm not—" "You are, now." 3 hours earlier, Soo-jin had woken up that morning with hope. Stupid, naive hope. Her tiny apartment in Gangnam's back alleys was freezing, the heater broken for the 3rd time this month. But she'd gotten a text from her younger sister, Hana, saying she'd saved enough to visit next week. That was something. That was everything. She worked 3 jobs to keep Hana in university. Morning shift at a convenience store, afternoon cleaning houses, evening shift at Lotus Garden, the upscale restaurant where Seoul's wealthiest ate overpriced food and treated staff like furniture. "You look like shit," her roommate and best friend Da-hee said from the doorway. She was holding 2 cups of instant coffee, her bleached blonde hair sticking up in every direction. "Good morning to you, too." Soo-jin took the coffee gratefully. "Another double shift?" "Triple. I picked up extra hours." Da-hee's expression softened. "Babe, you're going to kill yourself. Hana needs her sister alive." Da-hee sat beside her on the lumpy mattress. "When's the last time you ate something that wasn't ramen?" Soo-jin couldn't remember. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're exhausted, and your asshole father keeps calling." Soo-jin's jaw clenched. She'd blocked his number 6 times. He kept finding new ways to reach her. What did he want? Money. What else? Da-hee sipped her coffee. "I told him to fuck off and die." Despite everything, Soo-jin smiled. "You didn't." "I absolutely did. That man abandoned you and Hana when your mom died, and now he thinks he can just—" Da-hee shook her head, angry tears gathering. "You deserve better." "Yeah, well, we don't always get what we deserve." Soo-jin finished her coffee, changed into her Lotus Garden uniform, a crisp white shirt and black slacks that made her look more professional than she felt, and headed out into the Seoul evening. The restaurant was already packed when she arrived. Saturday nights were always brutal, rich families celebrating, Business meetings over expensive wine, couples on dates they'd probably regret. "Table 7 needs water," her manager barked, "and the VIP room has a reservation at 8 p.m. Some big shot and his daughter. Don't fuck it up." Soo-jin nodded, swallowed her exhaustion, and got to work. At 8:03 p.m., the VIP room doors opened. A man walked in first, tall, broad-shouldered, moving with the kind of confidence that came from knowing you were the most dangerous person in any room. His suit probably cost more than Soo-jin made in a year. His face was all sharp angles and cold authority. Behind him, a young woman, maybe 19 or 20, pretty in an innocent way. She wore a simple dress and looked uncomfortable with all the attention. "Good evening," Soo-jin said, bowing. "Welcome to Lotus Garden." The man didn't acknowledge her, didn't even look at her. He pulled out a chair for his daughter, who smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Appa." So this was the birthday girl. Soo-jin took their orders, expensive champagne, the chef's tasting menu, and disappeared into the kitchen. She tried not to think about how that one bottle of champagne could pay her rent for a month. The next hour passed in a blur of serving, cleaning, dodging her manager's criticism. The VIP room stayed quiet. The man, the father, sat across from his daughter, listening to her talk about university, about her friends, about normal things. Soo-jin was refilling their champagne when it happened. Her hand trembled. Just for a second. Exhaustion, hunger, 3 jobs catching up with her all at once. The bottle slipped. Champagne splashed across the table. The glass tumbled from the daughter's hand and shattered on the marble floor. Time stopped. "I'm so sorry," Soo-jin started. The manager appeared out of nowhere, red-faced and furious. "You idiot! Do you know how much that champagne costs? I'll pay for it." "Pay for it? With what?" He grabbed her arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. "You're fired. Get out." "Please, I need this job. Clean it up first, then get out." That's when the father spoke for the first time. "Let her go." The manager froze. Everyone in the room went still. "Sir, I apologize for—" "I said." The man's voice dropped to something deadly. "Let her go." The manager released Soo-jin's arm immediately, stepped back like he'd been burned. Soo-jin dropped to her knees, scrambling to pick up the broken glass. Her vision blurred with tears. She refused to let fall. "Not here, not in front of them." "Appa," the daughter whispered. "It was an accident. Please don't—" "She's bleeding," the man said. Soo-jin looked down. Blood welled up from her palms where the glass had cut her. She hadn't even felt it. "I'm fine," she lied. "No," he stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. "You're not." That's when he gave the command that changed everything. That's when he pulled back his jacket and showed the gun. That's when her manager went white and backed away, and everyone suddenly understood who this man was. Korean Mafia. Probably a boss. Definitely dangerous. And he'd just claimed her. Min-jae's car was a black Mercedes with tinted windows and leather seats that probably cost more than Soo-jin's entire life. She sat in the passenger seat, hands still bleeding, mind racing. "Where are we going?" Her voice came out small. "Hospital. I don't need— your hands are bleeding." He didn't look at her. His eyes stayed on the road, jaw clenched. "We're going to the hospital." In the back seat, Ji-woo leaned forward. "I'm sorry about Appa. He's intense." "Intense?" Soo-jin laughed, a little hysterical. "He just pulled a gun on my manager." "I didn't pull it," Min-jae corrected. "I showed it. There's a difference." "Oh, well, that makes it so much better." Ji-woo giggled despite the tension. "I like her." "Ji-woo," Min-jae's voice held a warning. "What? You clearly like her too. You never intervene like that." "Your birthday was ruined." "My birthday was boring until this happened." Ji-woo grinned. "This is the most exciting birthday I've ever had." Soo-jin stared at this girl, this privileged, innocent girl who thought having a mafia boss father was exciting instead of terrifying. "You have a very strange definition of exciting." Says the woman bleeding in my father's car. Fair point. They arrived at a private hospital in Gangnam, not the public emergency room where Soo-jin usually went. This was the kind of place that had marble floors and fresh flowers and doctors who didn't ask questions. Min-jae led her inside with his hand on her lower back, possessive, protective. She hated how safe it made her feel. A doctor appeared immediately. "Mr. Kang, what can I—" "Her hands," Min-jae said. The doctor took one look at Soo-jin's bloody palms and nodded. "Follow me." 20 minutes later, her hands were bandaged. She'd been given a tetanus shot, and she was sitting in a private room wondering what the fuck was happening to her life. "Drink," Min-jae handed her a bottle of water. "I'm fine." "You fainted in the restaurant." "I didn't faint, I tripped." "You collapsed from exhaustion and malnutrition." His eyes were hard. "When's the last time you ate?" Soo-jin looked away. "This morning." Liar. "Yesterday morning." Truth. She didn't answer. Min-jae muttered something in Korean that sounded like a curse. "Ji-woo, go get food from the cafeteria, whatever they have. Appa, I don't think—" "Now." Ji-woo left, throwing Soo-jin a sympathetic look. Alone with him, the room felt smaller, more dangerous. "Why did you do that?" Soo-jin asked. "At the restaurant, why did you claim me?" "You were hurt." "So? People get hurt all the time. You don't just—" "I don't let people hurt what's mine. I'm not yours. You are now." Soo-jin stood up, bandaged hands clenched into fists. "You can't just decide that. You can't just walk into my life and— Your manager was abusing you. That's none of your business." "It became my business the second I saw you bleeding on the floor." He moved closer, towering over her. "How many jobs do you work?" "That's— How many?" "3, she whispered. "Why?" "My sister, Hana. She's in university. I'm paying her tuition." "And your parents?" "Dead." The lie came easily. She'd been telling it for years. Easier than explaining that her father was a gambling addict who'd abandoned them, and her mother had died of heartbreak. Min-jae's expression softened, just for a second. "I'm sorry. Don't be. We're fine." "You're not fine. You're working yourself to death." "It's my life." "Not anymore." Soo-jin wanted to scream, wanted to run. But her body was exhausted, and her hands hurt, and something about the way he was looking at her, like she mattered, like she was worth protecting, made her want to cry. "What do you want from me?" Her voice cracked. "Nothing. Everyone wants something. I want you safe." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he cupped her face with one hand. "That's all. Why?" "Because I saw you bleeding and something in me broke." Everywhere went silent, just the hum of the hospital, the distant sound of voices in the hallway, her heart hammering against her ribs. "You're insane," she whispered. "Probably. I should leave. You should stay. I don't even know you." "Then let me introduce myself properly." He stepped back, gave her space. "My name is Kang Min-jae. I run the largest crime syndicate in Seoul. I've killed more men than I can count. I'm not a good person, but I protect what's mine. And whether you like it or not, you're mine now." Soo-jin should have run, should have called the police, should have done anything except stand there staring at this beautiful, dangerous man who'd just turned her entire world upside down. "I'm Park Soo-jin," she said. "I work 3 jobs. I can barely pay rent. I'm nobody." "You're not nobody to me." The door opened. Ji-woo walked in carrying bags of food from the cafeteria. "I got everything. Kimbap, bibimbap, some kind of soup." She stopped, looking between them. "Did I interrupt something?" "No," Soo-jin said. At the same time, Min-jae said, "Yes." Ji-woo grinned. "Oh, this is going to be fun." 1 week later, Soo-jin tried to go back to her normal life. She really did. She got fired from Lotus Garden, but she still had her convenience store job and the cleaning gigs. She told herself she'd forget about Min-jae. about his dark eyes and protective hands and the way he'd looked at her like she was precious. But he didn't let her forget. On Monday, a delivery arrived at her apartment. Groceries, expensive groceries, meat, fresh vegetables, fruit, things she hadn't been able to afford in months. The card said, "Eat, MJ." On Tuesday, her landlord called. Her rent had been paid for 6 months in advance. On Wednesday, she arrived at her convenience store job to find her manager acting strange, nervous. He gave her a raise without her asking, double her previous wage. On Thursday, she confronted Dahi. "Did you tell him where I live?" Dahi was painting her nails on the couch, looking guilty. Maybe. Okay, yes, but Sujin, the man is clearly obsessed with you, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. Have you seen how much food is in our fridge right now? That's not the point. Then what is the point? Dahi looked up, serious. You've been killing yourself for years, working yourself to the bone, and some rich, hot guy wants to take care of you. Why is that so bad? Because he's a criminal. So? He's a rich criminal with a really nice car. You're impossible. I'm practical. Dahi went back to her nails. Also, his daughter came by yesterday. Sujin froze. What? Jiwoo, super sweet girl. She wanted to make sure you were okay. We had coffee. You had coffee with a Mafia boss's daughter. She paid expensive coffee. I'm not complaining. Sujin grabbed her coat. I need to talk to him. Finally! To tell him to leave me alone. Sure you are, Dahi called after her. That's definitely why you're putting on makeup. Sujin slammed the door on her friend's laughter. She'd looked up Kang Min-jae online, found nothing. The man was a ghost. No social media, no public records, just whispers on underground forums about the Kang family's empire. Drugs, gambling, protection rackets, everything illegal and dangerous. But Jiwoo had left her number, and when Sujin called, the girl answered on the first ring. Sujin, I've been hoping you'd call. I need to see your father. Oh, thank God, he's been impossible all week, like more brooding than usual. It's exhausting. Can you tell me where he is? Better, I'll pick you up. Send me your address. 20 minutes later, a white BMW pulled up outside Sujin's building. Jiwoo was driving, wearing oversized sunglasses and a smile that was way too excited. Get in, loser. We're going to see Appa. Did you just quote Mean Girls? I'm Korean American. Of course I quote Mean Girls. Despite everything, Sujin laughed. They drove through Seoul's wealthy districts, past luxury boutiques and high-rise apartments, until they reached a compound in the hills. Tall gates, security guards. The kind of place that screamed, "Crime Lord lives here." This is where you grew up? Sujin asked. Yeah, it's a little much, I know. Jiwoo parked in the circular driveway. But Appa's paranoid about security. Can't really blame him. Inside, the house was stunning. Modern architecture, floor-to-ceiling windows, art that probably cost more than a car, but it felt empty, cold, like a museum instead of a home. He's in his office, Jiwoo said. 3rd floor. Good luck. You're not coming? Are you kidding? I want to give you 2 privacy. Jiwoo winked. Besides, I have studying to do. University life and all that. Sujin climbed the stairs on shaking legs, found the office door slightly ajar, knocked anyway. Come in. She pushed the door open. Min-jae sat behind a massive desk, papers spread out in front of him, looking exhausted and dangerous, and somehow even more handsome than she remembered. He looked up, saw her, went perfectly still. Sujin. We need to talk. He stood immediately, coming around the desk. Are you okay? Did something happen? Are you hurt? I'm fine, but you need to stop. Stop what? This. She gestured wildly. The food, the rent, the raise at my job, all of it. You need to stop. Why? Because I don't need your help. Yes, he said quietly. You do. No, I don't. I've been taking care of myself for years. I'm fine. You fainted in a restaurant from exhaustion. That was one time. Once is enough. He moved closer. I can't stop thinking about you bleeding on that floor, about you working 3 jobs, about you starving yourself so your sister can go to university. That's my choice, and it's my choice to help you. Why? Sujin's voice broke. Why do you even care? Because... He stopped, ran his hand through his hair. I don't know. I saw you and something just clicked, like I'd been waiting my whole life for you to exist. Her breath caught. That sounds insane, he continued. I know it does, but I can't stop thinking about you. Can't sleep. Can't focus. All I see is you. You don't even know me. Then let me know you. He cupped her face, exactly like he had in the hospital. Please. Sujin closed her eyes, felt tears leak out. I can't. Why not? Because you're dangerous. Because your world is dangerous. Because I have Hana to think about and I can't. I'll protect her too. Her eyes flew open. What? Your sister, Hana. I'll protect both of you, whatever you need, whatever it takes. You can't just watch me. He kissed her, soft at first, questioning, giving her every chance to pull away. She didn't. She kissed him back, hands fisting in his expensive shirt, pouring weeks of exhaustion and loneliness and desperate hope into it. He tasted like coffee and danger. His hands were gentle on her face, her waist, like she was something precious he was afraid to break. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to hers. Stay, he whispered. Just for tonight. Have dinner with me, with Jiwoo. Let me take care of you for one evening. Just one evening? As many as you'll give me. She should have said no, should have walked away, but she was so tired of being strong, so tired of carrying everything alone. Okay, she whispered. One dinner. He smiled, actually smiled. It transformed his entire face. One dinner. 2 weeks later, one dinner turned into 2, then 3. Then Sujin was spending most evenings at the Kang compound, eating meals with Min-jae and Jiwoo, feeling like part of a family for the first time since her mother died. Jiwoo adored her, constantly texting her, sending memes, inviting her to go shopping or get coffee. I always wanted a sister, she'd said once, squeezing Sujin's hand. Min-jae was intense, attentive. He'd text her good morning and good night, send cars to pick her up from work, show up at her convenience store job with coffee, and that small smile that made her heart race. But he never pushed, never demanded more than she was willing to give. They'd kiss sometimes, long, desperate kisses that left her breathless, but he always pulled back before it went further. I want you, he'd murmur against her lips, but only when you're ready, only when you're sure. It was driving her insane. Dahi thought the whole thing was hilarious. You're living in a K-drama, she'd say. Rich, dangerous man falls for poor, hard-working girl. It's literally a trope. It's my life. It's a sexy life. I'm jealous. But there were complications. Of course there were. Min-jae's world was dangerous. She'd seen glimpses of it. Men in suits who called him boss, hushed phone calls in the middle of the night, the way his entire demeanor would shift when business was mentioned. And then there was her father. He'd found out somehow about Min-jae, about the money, about everything. You think you're too good for your own family now? He'd cornered her outside her convenience store, drunk, angry. You've got some rich bastard taking care of you, but you won't help your own father? You're not my father, Sujin said coldly. You abandoned us. I made mistakes, but I'm still your blood. Blood doesn't mean anything. He'd grabbed her arm, squeezed hard enough to bruise. You owe me. I owe you nothing. Your mother... Don't. Her voice broke. Don't you dare talk about her. She'd want you to help me. She'd want me to be happy, something you never gave a damn about. He'd raised his hand. For a second, she thought he'd actually hit her, but someone grabbed his wrist. Min-jae. He'd appeared out of nowhere, eyes black with rage, holding her father's wrist in a grip that made the older man cry out. "Touch her again," Min-jae said softly, "and I'll break every bone in your body." Her father went white, stumbled backward when Min-jae released him. You're Kang Min-jae, and she's under my protection, which means if you come near her again, if you so much as look at her, I'll make sure you disappear. Understand?" Her father ran, actually ran away like a coward. Soo-jin stood there, shaking, watching him go. "How did you know?" she asked. "I had someone watching you." Min-jae turned to her, expression softening. "I'm sorry, I should have asked permission, but thank you." She threw her arms around him, buried her face in his chest. "Thank you." He held her tight. "Always. I'll always protect you." That night, in his car on the way back to the compound, she told him the truth about her father's gambling, her mother's death, the years of struggling alone. He listened without interrupting. When she finished, he took her hand. "You're not alone anymore," he said. "You have me, you have Ji-woo, you have a family. I barely know you. Then let's fix that." He took her to his favorite spot in Seoul, a hidden garden overlooking the city. They sat on a bench under the stars, and he told her about his life, about inheriting the family business at 22 when his father was killed, about raising Ji-woo alone after her mother left, about the loneliness of his world. "Everyone fears me," he said quietly. "But you look at me like I'm human. You are human. Sometimes I forget." She kissed him then, deep and slow. He kissed her back like she was air and he'd been drowning. "Come home with me," he whispered. "Really home, not just dinner. Stay. Min-jae, I'm in love with you." He said it like a confession, like something he'd been holding back for too long. "I know it's too fast. I know it's crazy. But I'm in love with you, Soo-jin, and I want you in my life. Fully. Completely." Her heart hammered. You don't have to say it back. Not yet. Just stay. Let me show you how much you mean to me." She thought about her tiny apartment, her 3 jobs, the constant exhaustion, the loneliness she'd carried for so long. Then she thought about Min-jae's smile, Ji-woo's laughter, the way he looked at her like she hung the moon. "Okay," she whispered, "I'll stay." 1 month later, living with Min-jae was different. She'd quit 2 of her jobs. He'd insisted. "Keep the convenience store if it makes you happy," he'd said, "but you don't need to work yourself to death anymore." Hana had visited last week, eyes wide at the compound. "Unnie, what the hell? You're dating a crime lord?" "It's complicated. It's awesome." Hana had hugged her tight. "You deserve this. You deserve to be happy." Ji-woo and Hana had become instant friends, which was both adorable and terrifying. They'd gone shopping together and come back with bags full of clothes for Soo-jin. "You need a new wardrobe," Ji-woo had declared. "I have clothes. You have work uniforms and old jeans. Now you have options." Da-hee had moved into one of the guest houses. "I'm not living in that shitty apartment when there's a mansion available," she'd said. "I'm not stupid." But Min-jae's business was getting more dangerous. She could see it in the late-night meetings, the tension in his shoulders, the way his men would whisper and go quiet when she entered a room. "What's going on?" she asked one night. They were in his bedroom, their bedroom now. She'd been sleeping there for 2 weeks, though they still hadn't gone further than heated kisses. He was being careful, patient. It made her love him more. "Business," he said, pulling her into his arms. "Nothing for you to worry about." "Don't do that. Don't shut me out." He sighed. "There's a rival family, the Choi organization. They're trying to move into our territory. It's getting tense." "Dangerous?" "Potentially." "What does that mean for us, for Ji-woo?" "It means I need to handle it before it becomes a problem." He kissed her forehead. "But you're safe here. I promise." She wanted to believe him. She really did. But 3 days later, everything went to hell. It happened at a restaurant. A nice one, where Min-jae was meeting a business associate. He'd brought Soo-jin along. "I want you with me," he'd said, always. Ji-woo was there too, along with Da-hee and a few of Min-jae's men. It was supposed to be a simple dinner, a show of force and unity. Then the Choi family showed up, 5 men in dark suits. The leader, a man with cold eyes and a cruel smile, walked straight to their table. "Kang Min-jae," he said, "we need to talk." "Not here." Min-jae's voice was hard. "This is family time." "Exactly. Family." The man's eyes landed on Soo-jin. "Who's this? Your new whore?" Everything happened so fast. Min-jae stood up, fist already swinging. He connected with the man's jaw with a sickening crack. The man went down. His men rushed forward. Min-jae's guards moved to intercept. "Get them out!" Min-jae shouted. One of his men, Tae-young, who Soo-jin had met before, grabbed her arm. "Come on!" "What about—" "He'll be fine. Move." Tae-young pulled her, Ji-woo, and Da-hee toward the exit. Behind them she heard the sounds of fighting, grunts of pain, something breaking. They made it to the car. Tae-young drove like a maniac, speeding through Seoul's streets while Ji-woo cried quietly in the back seat. "Is Appa going to be okay?" she whispered. "He's the toughest bastard I know," Tae-young said. "He'll be fine." But Soo-jin's hands were shaking, her heart racing. She'd known his world was dangerous, but seeing it up close... They arrived back at the compound, waited. Ji-woo paced. Da-hee held Soo-jin's hand. Tae-yang made phone calls, his expression getting grimmer with each one. "What's happening?" Soo-jin finally asked. "The Choi family hit 3 of our businesses tonight. This was coordinated." "Is he hurt?" "I don't know." 2 hours later, Min-jae walked through the door. His suit was torn, blood on his knuckles, a cut above his eyebrow. But he was alive. "Appa!" Ji-woo ran to him. "I'm okay, baby." He hugged his daughter tight. "I'm okay." His eyes found Soo-jin over Ji-woo's shoulder. Something in his expression made her chest ache. After Ji-woo went to bed, after Da-hee retreated to the guest house, after the house went quiet, Min-jae found Soo-jin in their bedroom. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, still wearing the dress from dinner, hands folded in her lap. "Hey," he said softly, "are you really okay?" "A few bruises, nothing serious." "You could have been killed." "But I wasn't. This time." She looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. "What about next time? What about the time after that?" "Soo-jin, I can't do this." The words tore out of her. "I can't watch you walk into danger. I can't live waiting for the phone call that says you're dead." "You won't have to." He knelt in front of her, taking her hands. "I'm getting out." "What?" "The business. I'm leaving it. I've been planning it for months. Tonight just accelerated the timeline. You can't just leave." "I can. I will. For you. For Ji-woo. For us." He kissed her knuckles. "I want a life with you. A real life. Not this." "What about the Choi family?" "I have a plan. My second in command, Tae-young, he's ready to take over. I'll hand everything to him. Make a clean break." "It's not that simple." "Nothing about my life has ever been simple." He cupped her face. "But you're worth it. You're worth everything." She kissed him, hard and desperate. He kissed her back, hands tangling in her hair. "I love you," she whispered against his lips. "I'm in love with you." He pulled back, eyes wide. "Say it again." "I love you, Kang Min-jae." "Thank God." He kissed her again, deeper this time. "I've been waiting to hear that." They fell onto the bed together, hands exploring, clothes coming off. He was gentle, worshipful, taking his time despite the urgency between them. "Are you sure?" he murmured against her neck. "Yes." She pulled him closer. "I'm sure." He made love to her slowly, thoroughly, whispering how much he loved her, how beautiful she was, how he'd never let her go. Afterward, tangled together in the sheets, he traced patterns on her bare shoulder. "Marry me," he said. She lifted her head. "What?" "Marry me. I know it's fast, I know it's crazy, but I want you forever, legally, officially, mine. You're insane. Probably. But I love you, and life's too short for maybe someday." She thought about everything that had led her here. The broken glass, the hospital, the dinners, the way he looked at her like she was his entire world. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay? Yes, I'll marry you." He kissed her again, laughing against her lips. "You just made me the happiest man alive. You're still a crime lord." "Not for long. For you, I'll be anyone." 3 months later, the wedding was small, just family and close friends. Hana stood as Soo-jin's maid of honor, crying happy tears. Da-hee was there, flirting shamelessly with Tae-yang, who'd taken over the organization as planned. Ji-woo gave her father away, beaming with pride. Min-jae looked devastating in his tuxedo. When Soo-jin walked down the aisle in a simple white dress, his eyes filled with tears. "You're beautiful," he whispered when she reached him. "You're not so bad yourself." They exchanged vows in a garden overlooking Seoul, promised forever, promised love, promised to face whatever came together. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Min-jae pulled her close and kissed her like she was oxygen. The reception was at the compound, the gardens lit with thousands of twinkling lights. They danced under the stars, fed each other cake, laughed with friends. At one point, Ji-woo pulled Soo-jin aside. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For making Appa happy, for being the mother I never had, for being my friend." Soo-jin hugged her tight, crying. "Thank you for having the most dramatic birthday ever, for bringing us together." Ji-woo laughed. "Best birthday present I ever gave myself, a new mom." Later, Min-jae and Soo-jin stood at the edge of the garden, watching their family and friends celebrate. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Leaving your world behind?" "Not for a second." He pulled her close. "You're my world now. You and Ji-woo and this life we're building. That's all I need." "What about Tae-yang, the business?" "He's doing great. Better than I did, actually." Min-jae smiled. "Turns out I was always better at the legitimate side. Business consulting, security. We'll be fine. We'll be happy. We already are." He kissed her softly as fireworks exploded overhead. Someone, probably Da-hee, had arranged them. The sky lit up in gold and silver. "To new beginnings," Min-jae murmured. "To new beginnings," Soo-jin agreed. Across the garden, Ji-woo stood with Hana, both girls watching the fireworks. Tae-young appeared beside them with Da-hee on his arm, the two of them clearly together now. Da-hee caught Soo-jin's eye and mouthed, "I told you, K-drama." Soo-jin laughed. Maybe it was a K-drama. Maybe her life had become something impossible and beautiful and ridiculous, but it was hers, and she'd never been happier. Min-jae spun her around, pulling her into another kiss. "I love you, Mrs. Kang." "I love you too." As the fireworks continued and their families celebrated around them, Soo-jin thought about that night in the restaurant. When she'd been broken and bleeding and hopeless, she just wanted to survive, to make it through another day. Instead, she'd found a family, found love, found a home, all because a daughter wanted a quiet birthday, and a Korean Mafia boss decided to save a bruised waitress. 6 months later, "Appa, she's kicking again!" Min-jae rushed across their new penthouse apartment, bought with legitimate business money, far from the compound but close enough to visit Ji-woo, and placed his hand on Soo-jin's very pregnant belly. Sure enough, a tiny foot pushed against his palm. "She's strong," he said, eyes soft with wonder, "like her mother." "Or stubborn like her father," Soo-jin countered, laughing. Ji-woo, now in her second year of university, leaned over to talk to the bump. "Hey, little sister, Uncle Tae-yang says you need to chill. Auntie Da-hee says you're going to be a troublemaker." "Auntie Da-hee would know," Da-hee called from the kitchen, where she was helping cook dinner with Hana. The apartment was full of laughter, full of love, full of the family they'd built together from broken pieces. Soo-jin looked around at all of them, her husband, her stepdaughter, her sister, her best friend, and felt tears prick her eyes. "Happy?" Min-jae asked, noticing. "So happy," she whispered. He kissed her temple. "Good, because this is just the beginning." And it was. Their story had started with broken glass and bleeding hands and a chance encounter, but it had become something beautiful, something worth fighting for, something like home.